Good afternoon, this is Mark at the Wicked Edge Expert Corner Group. You can follow us on YouTube or subscribe on, you can follow us on Facebook or subscribe on YouTube. Today we're talking end brackets. The Expert Corner Group accessory catalog offers end brackets. The end brackets were used with the square bar models, all of the square bar models, which included the Wicked Edge 100, the 120 was the first introduced the micro adjusters, and then the 130 with the new lever cam vise. So with these brackets, here's an old one from the 120. And what they did was for the gross angle adjustment, you loosened the knob. Different eras had different knobs. Some were silver, some were black, some had a hex key. But you moved it along the bar to find your angle, and then you turned it and locked it. There's a point and a divot, a little hole there and a point on the screw, and you locked it. Then with this screw, you could loosen it, and either with this wrench, put a box end, open end wrench on here, or a hex key, you could spin it in and out with your guide rod here and your cube on it. You could micro adjust your angle. That was on the 120, the first micro adjusters. Then we locked this up. This metal screw would compress, squeeze on the threads to lock the micro adjuster that we would drive in and out with the hex screw, and it boogered them. So what I did, the first thing was I took all these screws out front and back, because what I found was I would sharpen and go to town, and when I went on to the next grit and I went to set it up, I sometimes noticed that either the micro adjuster screw was loose or the one in the divot had worked loose, because it felt like the point had set in the divot, but it hadn't. It wasn't a design issue, it was a user issue. The holes are tight and they're small, meant to be able to give you half-degree incremental settings. So you have to be careful. There's a lot of screws. And when we're working on these knives looking for very precise angles, anything contributes to our hardship. If we don't have the results we want to have, when I didn't have the results I wanted to have, I looked for something in the hardware first. It was easier to look at the hardware than to look at my technique and my regimen. And there were hardware screws coming loose that we improved, first with the nylon screw. The 120 had, as a side step, the 120 had the screw. The 100 had, the newer 120, it got modernized and minimized, but it's the same deal. You had a lock screw here, you drove it with the hex key in and out, locked it up, and locked this on the square bar. But this got minimized to lower the height so that you could maximize this height to improve your angle adjustability. Wicked Edge made these improvements. So whether you have the new one or the original ones, the screws and the adjusters are all the same, just the brackets got smaller. So what we did at the Expert Corner Group, through working with other people on the forum, the Wicked Edge forum, that's where we exchanged our ideas. Back then, there wasn't a Facebook group and there wasn't YouTube and things like that. So what we found back then was that we could replace those hex-driven screws with a longer screw, and now we had a knurled knob and we could dial it in and out for our micro adjustment. And then we put a quick lock arm on here. We turn the bar over So now the divots are on the other side, and this has a flat screw end, and simply by turning it 180 degrees, you go from full unlock to full lock, and it's a press right against the flat side. So now this gross angle is that quick and simple, and micro angle is this quick and simple. And that combination removed the need to worry about 4 separate screws and this screw and the booger and all those things that we worked with for many years. It is so simple to use. For the newer models, it is exactly the same thing. It just, your bracket, our screws, we have the quick lock arm and the screws for the 100 kits. They come with the adjusters and the jam nuts. If you need lock arms for your model, lock arms are included. They're included with the dust boots that slide right down over the top. So then you have a complete, I'm looking for one to show you, a complete sealed unit ready to go. You just retrofit your brackets. Now, if, because there are so many Wicked Edge 100 series from so many eras out there, because they last forever, if you need brackets, we have the brackets. We have the brackets with the nylon screws if you prefer to go old school, and we have the lock arms and the brackets with the micro adjuster kits and the dust boots in the catalog for the 100 series, the 120, and the 130. The Gen 3 Pro we're going to do separately because it's a different bracket, but it's the same screwing mechanism. Thanks.